right. And like Stacey said, you can feel free to put any questions you have in the chat. If we know we're going to answer the question during the presentation at any point, we may not answer it right away. We may wait to get to that part of it. We may say like coming soon in the chat. And then if there's anything that we didn't answer or we know we're not going to answer, then we will make sure to answer it either during or at the end of that section. And we'll, of course, have some time at the very end for questions. So if you want to hold any questions to the end, you're more than welcome to. We'll give time throughout the presentation to do that. So what I'm going to do is we can go ahead and get started. We're a little after 7:30. If anyone joins us, they can come in at any part. So Allie, if you want to go to the next slide, and we will be introducing ourselves in just a moment. But before we get into who we are, I just want to let you know what you're going to be learning in this in our little presentation this afternoon. You know, Zoom is one of those great things that we can be able to meet with everyone in their own home. It's so great. It's kind of weird not all being together, but we're excited to be able to get to reach so many of you. And I know a lot of you are here right now because of our new partnership with Howard County Federation, which we're beyond excited about. So that way we can expand our busing to more areas of Howard County and be able to get to see hopefully more of your campers. Which we are so excited to be able to really expand that busing for you guys and have hopefully a wonderful Jewish camp experience for your children. So tonight what you're going to learn about is really what makes J Camp special. So number one, why should you choose us? But also for those of you who have already been to camp with your children, or your campers have been with us, I'll say, or if you're already registered, just to learn more about our program, about what we'll be doing this summer. And if you have any specific questions, we'll get into it as much as we possibly can with the answers that we have. So who is on the screen tonight? So my name is Emily Stern. I'm the Chief Program Officer here at the JCC. I have been at the J for going on 15 years. I've started in the early childhood here at the J, and I have been in the camp side of all of our programmatic areas, starting in the early childhood, and then for the last 6.5 years, overseeing our entire camp platform. And we also have, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Stacey, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Stacey Deems. I'm the Assistant Director of J Camps. This was my 8th summer, going into my 9th year here at the JCC. I started off as a camp coordinator back in the Milldale days, and I moved up to Assistant Director. I have my hands in a whole lot of different buckets all at once, and I'm just excited to be back for another summer at camp. Allie?
I'm Allie. I'm the J Camps coordinator. I've been a part of J Camps not only as a camper, but then as a counselor, and now I work here full time. So J Camps has very much so been an important part of my life. I essentially run the camp office year round and during the summer. So I'm sure if you registered for camp or if you had a question about camp, there's a really good chance that you talk to me. Brad.
Great. I'm Bradley Kirkston. During the year, I serve as our Senior Director of J Kids Baltimore and Special Projects here at the JCC. Then during the summer, I'm our Director of Operations for camp. This is going to be my 18th summer working at J Camps. I've done everything from counselor to director of our middle school camp to lots of fun jobs at camp. So I'm excited for another great summer.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So sorry, I'm playing with my screen really fast. So it looks like I'm actually looking at you guys and not off to the side on my computer. So just to kind of start us off about really what your kids will be getting out of coming to J Camps this summer. They're going to enjoy a welcoming, positive, supportive, safe community. We are committed to really taking care of our campers in every aspect of the word, whether it be mentally, emotionally, socially, physically. It is so important to us that our campers have a positive experience here at camp, so much so that we're actually putting a lot of time and energy into our camp care team, which you'll hear about later on in our talk today. We want to grow in a Jewish environment with Jewish experiences. Of course, you don't have to be Jewish to come to JCamps, but it is an important part of who we are. We lead with our Jewish values, and there's a lot of ways that we infuse that throughout our program, once again, that you'll hear more about today. We want all of our campers to make new friends. We know that they come a lot of times with friends from their area, but at the same time, they get to build those friendships in a new way at camp, as well as make new friends, which is a really nice thing to see. They'll, of course, participate in dynamic activities. We have a lot of amazing things at JCamps indoors and outdoors and on our facility. If you've never been to the J, we have an amazing outdoor facility here that we really turn into camp in all aspects of the word over the summer. And of course, we socialize outdoors and have fun. So we give your kids that outdoor experience that they're, I'm sure, looking for right now, being stuck indoors so much. So this summer, you may be wondering what kind of programming we're going to be running. We are returning to what we consider a more typical JCamps lineup of programming. The last 2 summers have looked a little different for us. Obviously in 2020, very, very different. And in 2021, we started kind of getting back to what JCamps does in terms of our lineup of programming. But this summer, we really feel comfortable with how we're running our program and being able to offer everything that we do in this in a much more similar way to that we did in 2019. And you'll see that when we talk a little bit about our middle school program and some of our programmatic areas that we have that we very much changed over the last 2 years. So we're excited to get back to that. We want you to know that we pride ourselves in being transparent with our families. There are things that, even as you'll hear throughout this conversation tonight, that we don't know the answer to every question yet about the summer. We are still living in a very uncertain world in some ways, and we're continuing to learn new things every day. So there are some decisions we haven't made yet about the summer. We, of course, plan to, and we will communicate those with our families, especially our registered families, as soon as we know them. And that's really how we make decisions, is with not on our own in a corner deciding how we want to run this program. Of course, we think about the best interests of our entire camp community, and we do that alongside a lot of professionals, especially in the medical side. We have a partner in LifeBridge Health, and we talk to them a lot about what our medical policies are over the summer. We're an ACA accredited camp, and we'll tell you a little bit about what that means. But there's regulations that we have to follow through the Baltimore County Health Department. There's the CDC guidelines that, of course, all of us are looking at every other day to see if they've changed. And then there's ACA, which is our accreditation, which are national, like nationwide standards that we look to help us make decisions. And that's how we go about making what we look at as the right decisions for JCamps, and with the health and safety of our camp community in mind. All right. So now what we are going to do is I believe, going to turn things over to Allie. She's going to talk to you guys for a little bit about what our programs are that we're offering this summer. And the way that we're going to do that is actually by showing you our online brochure. We hope that you've had an opportunity to take a look at this, but if you haven't, you'll get to look at it right now. It's the best way for us to show you all of the great options we have. So Allie, turning it over to you for a few minutes.
Thanks, Emily. So if you head over to our website, jcampsbaltimore.org, you'll be able to find our online brochure, and will essentially tell you everything you need to know about the summer. Everything from our programming to who we are as JCamps is in this brochure. So if you start clicking through, you're going to notice some icons at the bottom of some of the pages. So these icons essentially tell you what makes each camp program unique. So as you can see, if you zoom in to J-Day, where these icons are, you'll be able to see that we offer express busing through this program. So J-Day is our camp where campers get to experience a little bit of everything. It's for campers going into grades pre-K through 6th grade. Campers are placed in a bunk with other kids their age, and they are able to experience everything that we have to offer. They participate in different activities that range from zip line to arts and crafts to music to science to nature and more. And it's a really awesome camp if your camper likes to do a little bit of everything. Throughout the brochure, you'll also see these plus signs in the circles. You can click on those and it will give you more information about that specific program. There's also swim included in J-Day. Campers get 2 periods of swim every single day, and that includes instructional swim in the morning and free swim in the afternoons. Moving on to our JCamps Plus programming. So JCamps Plus, you get these really awesome 1-week camp experiences where campers really get to hone in on a specific skill that they want to get better at or just want to focus on. You'll see that there is no bus icon on this page, and that is because unfortunately we are not able to bus for JCamps Plus. Our culinary camps are actually located off-site of our Owings Mills JCC, so these are run at Krieger-Schechter Day School, which is in the Pikesville-Stevenson area. It's a wonderful camp if you're able to make the drive out there. It does start at grades entering 2nd through 6th, and then the last week goes all the way up to entering 8th grade. On the right-hand side, you'll see our post-week camp options, and we have a wonderful options ranging from Lego to science and more. And it's just a really, these are really awesome camps if you want to focus in on a specific skill that your camper might have or is curious about. I mean, who doesn't want to play with Legos all day? Moving on to Habima Arts Camp. So Habima Arts Camp is a wonderful camp if your camper loves all things arts. Campers participate in a wide variety of arts activities. There's everything from visual arts to performing arts. Visual arts can include things like mixed media, ceramics, puppetry, drawing, painting, all of that fun stuff. And then performing arts would include like dance, musical theater, singing, all of that. These are run in 2-week sessions. So our grades 1st and 2nd grade, they will be able to participate in Habima throughout the entire summer in these 2-week sessions. Throughout these 2-week sessions, you'll see that at the end of the 2-week sessions, we actually invite parents to come out and watch your kids perform in their showcase. So you'll be able to see what they've been doing in their classes, as well as what is going on in the gallery. And you'll be able to look at their visual pieces as well at our Gordon Center. As you can see, our 3rd through 6th graders have the same option, but they are only going to be doing regular Habima for the first 4 weeks of the summer. Then we actually invite them to join us with our new camp, which is the Habima Summer Musical. So in the Habima Summer Musical, your kid will be able to put on a Broadway-styled show and really understand what it's like to be a part of a cast, learn the behind-the-scenes magic of putting on a show, and all of that fun stuff. Moving to the sports side of things, we have Maccabi Sports Camp, which is for grades entering grades 1st through 6th grade. So campers do get instructional swim and free swim in this program, and they are broken down into 3 different units. There's Kickstarters, JV, and AAA. Campers are going to play a wide variety of sports in this camp. They're going to learn things like teamwork and coordination and more sport-specific skills by running specific drills and games where we emphasize these themes. JV and AAA, so our oldest campers, they'll also be able to participate in other camp activities that we have, such as zip line, archery, team building, and the adventure park. Then we move over to tennis camp, and that is run by Adam Stein. So Adam Stein has been at the J for quite a long time. When I was a camper in the early 2000s, I was one of his campers. So he's been here for quite some time. But tennis camp is an awesome camp. Your camper doesn't have to have any experience playing tennis whatsoever. It can be their first time on the courts. He's really great with all different skill levels. And in the mornings, they'll do tennis. And then in the afternoons, they have the option of doing extra court time, playground time, or doing daily free swim. Instructional swim is not something that is included in this program. And you can see that again by looking at the icons. We don't see that swim icon. Moving into the teen world, so we run a program called TNT, which stands for Top Notch Teen. It's for entering grades 7th and 8th. If you are interested in this program, we're actually going to be hosting 2 mandatory info sessions next Tuesday and Wednesday on Zoom. So the in-person one has been moved to Zoom, and you'll learn all things TNT as well as our registration process. But essentially, teens have 3 different tracks that they can choose from and 3 different camps, and they're all different. So I invite you to join us if you are interested. And then last but not least, we have CIT, our counselor and training program. CITs will be placed in different bunks throughout the summer, and they'll be able to work with the campers and assist the counselors when needed. And then they will also participate in different leadership workshops and earn community service. Now on the back, you'll be able to see all of our wonderful camps broken down into this nice chart, and you'll be able to see the different dates that we are offering things. And then you'll also be able to see the rates for the summer and how we break down pricing. And if you want to save money on camp, this is definitely the time to register. You will save the most money if you register before February 1st. You'll be able to save $125 per camper when you register for 5 or more weeks, and then $75 per camper when you register for 2 to 4 weeks through our early bird special. So feel free to check all of that out. I am sharing my screen and I'm going to turn it back over to
Me.
Emily.
Thank you, Allie. That was great. So as you can see, we have a lot of different options at J Camps. A lot of our younger campers, especially our J-Day Junior and J-Day campers specifically, start in J-Day because that's the only program at that age that we bus for that we offer on our campus. And it gives them that opportunity to really just delve into a little bit of everything. And in entering first grade, you have the opportunity to try out some of our different options. Many families, they decide they want to keep their camper in J-Day, and others decide I wanted them to try a little bit of everything. So they do 2 weeks of J-Day, 2 weeks of Habima, and 2 weeks of tennis camp. All of those things are okay with us. We do suggest to keep the weeks consistent and not jump back and forth between camps. That's a difficult transition for a lot of kids. And also with the world we live in, with contact tracing right now, we always prefer kids really trying to stay within the same camp for consecutive weeks. But we are flexible with those options, and we're always happy to walk you through what you think might be best for your child and ask any questions that you might have. All right, so really now what you probably want to know is why should you choose JCAM? Some of you have already chosen us and we very much appreciate that. But for anyone who hasn't chosen us yet and you're wondering why should you, these are just some of the big highlights of things that I think really separate us from some of the other programs. We have incredible indoor and outdoor facilities. We are a JCC with the amenities of an amazing facility indoors that has for Habima a professional Gordon theater where we have a 550-person theater. So when we do our showcase and we do our Broadway show, it is done in a professional theater alongside where major acts are in the fall. We have 2 indoor gymnasiums. We have a ceramic studio, and we have a lot of space when we have extreme heat or rainy days. So one of the really great things about us is that our program doesn't have to stop when the weather gets bad, which is really great. We can come inside, and of course we do that in a safe way. We do wear masks, and right now we'll be still asking campers to wear masks and staff indoors. We have an amazing outdoor facility as well. Our property goes much far beyond that many people realize. We have fields, we have a zip line, we have an adventure course, we have nature trails. We have an amazing outdoor swimming pool that is closed to membership while we are there. So it is only for camp when we are on in the swimming pool, in the changing rooms. We have an amazing outdoor, we actually have 3 playgrounds here, but our older kids use the big one, as we call it, our biblical playground. So we have amazing facilities to provide all the programming that you're hearing about today. We do offer swim lessons in our program. We have a nationally recognized swim program. As Ali shared, when you go through our brochure, you can see the icons that tell you which camps have instructional swim. Almost all of our programs do have free swim. That's a part of it. But instructional swim is only for some of the programs that we offer. J-Day is one of them, sports camp, and Habima for our younger campers. We swim for anyone that has free swim. It is every day. Instructional swim is also every day. So for those that have both instructional and free, it is twice a day. We pride ourselves in all of the safety measures that we take in and around the pool. We have what we call WSIs, which are swim instructors during instructional swim that are in the water with the kids. At all times, we have lifeguards watching the pool. And during free swim, when the WSIs are not in the water during instruction, we also have what we call watchers. So in addition to the lifeguards, we have camp staff who are trained in basic water rescue who have to watch the pool in a ratio of 1 to 10. And like I said, this is in addition to the lifeguards that are already watching the pool. So we have a lot of staff in and around the area. We make sure that our kids are swim tested, so they can only be in an area of the pool where they can't stand if they pass a swim level test. I have to tell you, the swim level test is not super easy. I have a hard time passing the blue band test, but we separate our pool into three areas: red band, white band, and blue band. And the red band section is for non-swimmers. We rope it off so that they're only in an area of the pool that they can stand. We do also have a splash pad. So for campers who may not want to get in the pool all the time, they have a wonderful splash pad area area that they can run around in. And in our blue band section, one of the really great things that the kids are just itching to get to, which is why they work so hard in those instructional swim lessons, is to get a blue band to be able to go on a really amazing rock wall that actually overhangs over our deep end section of the pool, and get to try that out. So it's a really great swim program that I'm sure your kids would enjoy. We are going to talk a little bit more about our free express bus program that we have. I'm sure a lot of you will be taking advantage of that, being from Howard County. So thankful to our Howard County Federation partnership that we're able to expand that busing, and Stacey will talk about that a little bit later. We'll also talk more about what our camp care team is going to look like. We do have a hot lunch program. You do not have to participate. It is optional. It does have an extra cost, but we have a cafe on site. So they do provide a hot lunch program for us. The food was great last summer. There's 1 to 2 options each day. It's an online platform that you can sign up for. You're more than welcome to send your child with a lunch. We do refrigerate lunches. We ask that any food that comes into camp is kosher style. So just that you don't pack a meat and cheese sandwich. However, you are more than welcome to pack meat. I know some programs are dairy only. Now the camp, in terms of what we provide to our campers, is always fully kosher, as well as nut-free. If your child has any allergies, we'll talk a little bit about our health and safety later, but we take allergies and medication and any of that very, very seriously. We make sure that we have everything we need in case of emergency here at camp, as well as train our staff on how to utilize that, heaven forbid, and make sure that all of our campers are safe. We are a nut-aware campus, which means that you can pack peanut butter and nut products, but we're very aware of any children that have allergies, so we make sure that they are not sitting next to a child who has a nut sandwich if they have a severe allergy. We are beyond proud of our inclusion program that we have at JCamps. We offer anyone, no matter their ability, the opportunity to come to camp and participate in our wonderful camp activities with extra support. So that extra support can be in terms of what we call a camper advocate, which is a staff member assigned to either one child or 2 children to really help support them in their needs to be successful in our camp program that exists. So it doesn't mean that we have a separate program that we're running, but we have a program that we have extra support to assist children who may need that in order to be successful. And as I mentioned earlier, we're an ACA accredited camp. It's American Camp Association, which is a nationally accredited organization focusing on like safety, health, risk management. It is a grueling process to get this accreditation. We think a lot about how we can make sure that we're a safe campus for all of our campers. And lastly, we have an app. What's better than that? So we have a JCamps app where all of our photos, videos, text notifications, it's Allie's favorite thing to manage in the summer, but you can kind of get everything at the tips of your fingers. It has all of our contact information. Not that you won't have it before then. We send out about 1 million emails before the summer starts, but really everything that you'll need is at the tip of your fingers. So just a few reasons that we think that we're the best program in town. We're a little biased, I guess, but we're gonna now talk a little bit more about some of these things that also make us special. So Brad, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Great, I'm really excited to talk about, the J&J camps, our Jewish life. We have an integrated approach to how we kind of infuse Judaism into our programs. And we have 4 Jewish values that we infuse each week. And they are kahila, or community, hakira, or curiosity, tikkun olam, repair the world, and ruach, spirit. And like I said, we have these 4 Jewish values, and each week we focus on one and really integrate it in everything we do, from nature to athletics to every activity you can think of at camp. We always touch on the Jewish value through our amazing specialists that kind of infuse that in their lessons. We also, on Fridays, we celebrate Shabbat. And through that, through our song leaders and our dance specialists and lots of fun special activities, we make Shabbat a really meaningful experience. We end Shabbat, of course, with everyone's favorite, Simchala, and we crown our Mensch of the Week for each bunker group. And we choose a Mensch of the Week that goes above and beyond in that bunk and really expresses that week's Jewish value. We also are so lucky to partner with Jewish Volunteer Connection to have an activity each week on each camper's schedule called Shababa. And that is usually a community service activity where the kids can give back, and we use those Jewish values to do the community service activity. It's a really fun activity at camp. It really helps the kids connect Jewishly to everything we do. And all of these activities are led by our incredible Jewish Life team and our Shlahim, our Israeli counselors. We're so lucky to be able to bring in Israeli counselors, and they interact with every one of our camps in different ways. And it makes our camp really a meaningful experience. Great. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's new. Some of the stuff Ali mentioned when she was going through our program, but we are just so excited for the first time ever to have Habima Summer Musical. This will be weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's going to be for grades 3rd grade through 8th grade. They're going to learn all the aspects of being able to create a musical. And during the final week, they'll be able to perform on our Gordon stage. Really excited about this opportunity. Feel free if you have any questions, especially if you were in Habima in previous summers and would like to know how it's different. We're happy to answer any questions about this. And like Ali mentioned, we have an expanded middle school track, our top-notch teen program. We're not going to focus too much on this, but like Ali said, next Tuesday and Wednesday, we have information sessions about this incredible program. And if you need the link, please put it in the chat and we're happy to send that link to you. And we continue every single summer. We have amazing special events at camp. This summer, we're excited to bring back some of our favorites, such as Super Cool Vehicle Day, our Color War, and other fun activities. And be on the lookout for social media and other things when we announce some of our special events. And even more exciting, off-site field trips are back for 3rd grade and up. And when Ali was going through the pamphlet, she mentioned how there's some icons in each, there's an icon for field trips as well. So we'll tell you if your camp goes on field trips. So thank you, and we're excited to have you at JCamps. I'm going to pass it over to Stacy.
Sorry, guys, our PowerPointing is just lagging a little bit, but there we go.
That's okay. I was muted, like typical, wonderful Zoom thing that happens sometimes when you're on it. So I'm here to talk about a community that cares, and this is one of our big taglines for the summer. Here at JCamps, we intentionally create a culture where our campers, families, and staff are supported, and we are very dedicated to ensuring that our entire camp community has all the tools they need to enjoy a summer of growth and success. So some of the ways that we do that is, Emily mentioned before, a little bit about our JCamps care team. So since JCamps' inception back in 2016, when we moved onto this campus, we've had a camper support person on our leadership staff. That's been a typical position. Actually, I think it started back in our Milldale days. So we've brought that with us. However, as all of us have experienced, the rise of COVID has brought a lot of new challenges and also some things to light. The steps that we needed to take in the beginning of the pandemic to keep all of us physically and mentally safe has had a great impact on the social, emotional, and mental health of not only the adults in our community and elders, but also our kids. And it's something that we recognize. We do a lot of professional development on, and we are in a lot of conversations on, with camps all around the country, and in schools and teachers all around the country as well. So to help support our entire camp community, we have invested a lot in a new model of our camper support, and we're calling that the JCamps Care Team. So the team of professionals will be hands-on with our campers and our staff. So they're going to help with training. They're going to partner with parents. They're going to proactively put in place behavior management strategies, not only that our counselors can use in their daily activities, but also some additional supports that some campers may need to get throughout their camp day. These would be supports outside of what Emily was talking about with the inclusion program, right? So if you think of like a sticker reward chart that could get them into the prize box, or something like along those kind of lines, the ability to be a line leader. We really talk to the parents to find out what motivates their children to be their best selves. We're also recreating our confidential camper profile. So every year, one of the forms forms that our families fill out is a camper profile, which asks questions about their camper. This is going to go live closer to the summer, but this form is going to, we're just changing the types of questions that we're asking. We're having them be much more intentional and much more regarding exactly what I just said, what motivates your children and what kind of kid your kid is, right? Is your child the first one to jump up and want to be the line leader? Is your child the one that sits back and watches a little bit before jumping in? Are they shy? Are they outgoing? Are they all of that? All that information that we gather from parents really, really helps us be able to form the right relationships with your children and make sure that they are fully supported and cared for while they're with us. So we just ask you that when those forms come out, so please fill them out as honestly as you can, if you have any questions, to reach out to us. But with that and everything else that we do, our main goal is that your camper will not only feel safe and have an amazing day at camp, but the next morning when they wake up, they're going to want to come back. Right? We do not want you guys to be sitting there trying to convince your child to get on a bus or to get in the car to come to camp. We want your children waking you up excited to come back to see us the next day. That's how we know, and that's how you'll know that we are doing a great job. In addition, we have seasoned year-round leadership. So besides the year-round team that we're on the Zoom with you tonight, we're lucky to be surrounded by other camp and programming professionals at the JCC. So from our arts and culture department to sports and wellness to tennis with Mr. Adam, all of our year-round directors have a hand in camp. A lot of our executive team is very camp related. You know, we have Barack, who grew up in the camp world, and Paul, who was camping, and Emily now, who's obviously camping. It goes from the top all the way down. It's amazing. And it's so great to work with such a wide variety of skill sets, all towards the same goal, which is an amazing, safe, and fun summer program for everyone involved. Our entire JCC community really gets into it, and the feeling around the JCC really changes once camps really start. We also are really intentional and invested in finding great staff. We have some amazing returning staff that come back year after year. We hire starting at age 16 and go up through qualified teachers. So if you have older children or no neighbors or no people that, have skill sets, please send them our way. We take our staff training very, very seriously. Our seasonal leadership team consists mostly of returning staff. So the 95% of our leadership team is already in place for this coming summer. And we start coming together in the spring for professional development opportunities. And we start planning both staff orientation and camp programming. Our seasonal counselors, specialists, and administrative staff and other support staff go through about 25 to 30 hours of staff training during the month of June. So maybe some even go through 35, depending on, if they're an inclusion staff or additional specialists or whatever. So we do really put a lot of effort into our staff training. Our orientation consists of everything from emergency procedures to water safety training that Emily had mentioned, to games to play during downtime and how to, behavior management and all of that. Also mental health, self-care, and one of our newest initiatives that we're really proud of is we're also doing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and training and conversations with our staff and with the campers at an age appropriate level as well. It all comes together to ensure that our staff from top down are fully prepared and excited to meet your campers exactly where they are, to support them in their growth and to ensure that we are a safe place for them to be themselves. Because it's a common question that comes up when we talk about staff, I'm going to bring this up now. In placing our counselors, we do pair our most experienced staff with our youngest campers. We also are, as we mentioned, an ACA accredited camp. Those ratios that they have are stricter than the Maryland guidelines. So for instance, in our J-Day Junior, which is our pre-K 4 and our K groups, the ratio of staff to campers is 1 to 6. Our group sizes for 6th grade and below are no more than 15 to 16 kids. When you get into that, and we go by entering grades, rising grades, right? So our pre-K 4s are 4 by September 1st of 2022. If your child is in kindergarten right now, they're going to be considered a 1st grader in camp. But once we get into that middle school and high school ages, the ratios vary a lot, and we do follow those as well. We have health and safety protocols. So many of those are, we have many of them, and they're both around general health and safety and also around COVID. And it's our goal to support not only the social, emotional, and mental health of our campers and camp community, but also their physical health as well. And Emily's going to go over a lot of the most asked questions about protocols in a little bit. But since everyone here is from Howard County, now I'm hoping that you're saying, this sounds great. How are we going to get there? So can we change to the next slide about transportation? When it decides to move. There we go. Okay, so let me find mine. So transportation, we have many bus stops, okay? But the two that are most important to you are listed right here. So Beit Yaladim has been a partner for the JCC and JCamps for many years. Their stop is located they're in Columbia on route, my screen just went off, I'm sorry, on Route 108 between 29 and 100, and their bus stop is located in the back of the parking lot. The pickup and drop off times that you see on your screen are approximate times. I'll get into that in a moment. That's our best guess of a time, and I'll get into how that can change in a moment. Temple Isaiah is our newest partner, thanks exclusively to the partnership with the Federation of Howard County. We are very, very excited. We've talked to them actually in the original 2020 plan, which obviously went out the window in that March. So we're very excited to officially have them as our partner. They're located on Skaggsville Road in the Fulton-Clarksville area. And then those are those bus times that we're assuming for those. When I say assuming, it really means that the time stated may change based on traffic or how long it may take to load or unload the buses. Beit Yaladim, we have a pretty good idea because we've been doing it for so long. In all honesty, Temple Isaiah, those times are from Google mapping and figuring out like approximate times. We may have to adjust those a little bit. The changes aren't going to be any more than like 10 minutes on either side. We will 100% communicate those to you. And in addition, if there's any changes or our buses get stuck in traffic or leave late or anything like that, we do have bus counselors on the bus with them, and they communicate all of that through the app. And you can, so when you go into our JCamps app, you can choose which bus stop your child is at, and you can get updates if necessary for that. What you're probably wondering is, it's a really long bus ride. How are you going to keep my kids safe? And what if they have to go to the bathroom? Major questions all the time we get, so I will answer them. Our buses are staffed with bus counselors. Oh, it is 2 bus stops. It is 2 different bus stops with 2 different buses. So I just saw that question come up. So Beit Yaladim is going to go directly from Beit Yaladim to JCamps, and Temple Isaiah goes directly from Temple Isaiah to JCamps. We are not going to try to cross across Columbia at that time of the morning. There is no way that's going to happen. We already know that. So our buses are staffed with the bus counselor. Those bus counselors are responsible for maintaining seating charts, for maintaining the bus rules. I'll go over some general ones in a few minutes, assisting your campers on the bus. And really most important, not most importantly, but one of the big important ones is when the bus does arrive back to your location in the afternoon, ensuring that your campers are picked up by their correct authorized grown-up. You have the right to say, these are the people that can pick up our child. We will not release a child to anybody that you have not said. We check IDs, we call the camp office, we make every arrangement possible. We'll call families if we need to and say, wait, you didn't tell us Aunt Sally was picking up, right? JCamp junior campers are able to take the bus after a conversation with Emily, I believe. And yeah, I'm going to turn my chat off because I keep answering those as they pop up. But for bus safety, we ask the campers to be able to follow the following rules. And this kind of goes into your JCamps junior. So when you're thinking, is busing the right option for my camper? These are the kind of questions you want to ask yourself about what your child is. Is your child able to follow directions given by a bus driver or bus counselors? Are they able to be seated facing forward at all times when the bus is moving? And are they able to remain in their assigned seats, right? If your child is not able to do that, is prone to be sitting in the middle of the aisle, or is prone to wanting to change seats all the time, like then, like that's a good sign that maybe it's a little bit too early to bus. Are they able to keep their hands, arms, feet, legs, head, and all belongings inside the bus at all times? We say that the aisles have to be clear. No more than one camper. Well, what we did last year was no more than one camper to a seat unless a sibling is living in the same household. We're not going to do exactly that strict right now. We are going to be seating siblings together. And we are going to try to keep the campers in the same groups and in the same, the same cohorts together, in the same kind of sections of the bus. But we are going to be running buses that have that are full, just like the schools are. Windows will be open at all times. That roof hatch will be open in order to have airflow come through. We most likely will be requiring masks on the bus again during that bus ride. And then, they're allowed to drink water on the bus. They can have water, but food and all the other drinks we do not allow on the bus. And we ask them to use their inside voices, and inappropriate language and jokes and songs and all of that are not permitted. That's kind of the main bus, the bus rules and what that is. If you have any other questions I didn't go over, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll answer them later on. And then next, it goes back to Emily. So take it away.
Guys, it's me again. All right, so health and safety. We definitely want to make sure that we are keeping all of our campers, staff, and everyone who comes into camp safe at all times. Over the past 2 summers, we have learned a lot about running camp during COVID. So I will cover both our COVID policies that we have right now, or how we've been running camp, and also how we go about making those decisions. So JCAMS has met and exceeded all Maryland Department of Health guidelines, and we obviously continue to monitor the evolving regulations, which they seem to be evolving every other day these days, both nationally and locally. Locally is what we must follow. So Baltimore County Department of Health, we are a licensed day camp in the state of Maryland. We must follow what they tell us to. We have no choice. And then there are, of course, the CDC guidelines, which hopefully the Baltimore County Department of Health looks at when they're making their decisions. So we look a lot at that, as well as, of course, I mentioned ACA regulations and best practices, as well as our partners at LifeBridge Health, all of which go into how we keep our campers and community safe over the summer. So next slide. It'll turn soon. All right, so health and safety protocols. So our general health management, there was still health management before there was COVID. So there's a lot of things that we do to make sure that we keep your campers safe. Our number one rule that we tell our counselors is that if a child is going to go home in any way different than they came to camp because they scraped their knee or they bumped their arm or their stomach hurt or whatever, they go to our nurse or medic, so that way we can call home or email and let you know what's going on. We do have either a nurse or medic on campus at all times. That person is here to make sure we can take care of all of the health and safety needs that your campers may hopefully not need over the summer, but sometimes things can happen. And of course, we have campers that have allergies that need to take medication at camp. And so we make sure that we will collect all of that pertinent medical information from you before camp starts. We send out a lot of emails, and there are a lot of forms to fill out before camp that are turned on in our system a month or two before, probably 2 months before camp starts. It has all of the medical information. If your child does need to take a medication at camp, they must fill out a medication authorization form that is signed by your doctor. If your child has asthma or has an allergy, there's also allergy or asthma action plans that are filled out. So we do make sure we have all of that information. When your child goes to the nurse, obviously we do make sure to give you a call. If it's something little, we may email. And then hopefully they can return to their group, but if not, and you need to pick up from our campus, they will stay in the nurse's office until you get here. If it is something that is health related that we feel that they need to quarantine from other campers, we do have, we actually have a trailer that we utilize for our medical services, and we have a room with a separate door that we can keep open, but has like little cots and things like that in there that kids can lay down if needed. All of our counselors carry around Band-Aids and gloves and hand sanitizer and all the little things they may need throughout the day. So our COVID response management, obviously this has continued to shift throughout the evolving pandemic that we've been living in. We have last year, the way that it looked is that if a child had any symptom, parents were, and it presented itself during camp, the parent was called to come pick them up, take them home, monitor the symptom. If it's something that they needed to visit the doctor for, there were times where we required a COVID test to return to camp. It really depended on the type of symptom, if it was a COVID symptom specifically, and also the length of the symptom, and as making sure that it was not related to something that was at camp. So for instance, a severe headache when you're out in the heat all day could be a result of camp. By the time you get home and you're in the air conditioning and it subsides right away, obviously at that point, it's not really a COVID symptom anymore. So we take all of that very seriously. It is so important that we enter into trust with our families during this time, and that if there is something that happens, COVID especially related, at home, that you let us know. We do have to report all positive cases to the health department, notify families, contact trace, all of that stuff. It's very important to us that we get information from families, and also ask that families are making safe and healthy choices for themselves, because everything that you do then comes to our camp community. Staff training, as Stacy mentioned, we take staff training very seriously. We go over all of our medical policies, procedures. We do child abuse prevention training. We do a lot of training with our staff, especially for those that have never worked with kids before, to make sure that they know what to do at all times. They're supervised by experienced staff members. As Stacy mentioned, our leadership team, which are our unit heads and directors of our camp, have been here for a very long time. And we are very prepared to work with all of our counselors and to train them to work with your children. In terms of our general programming, how we are looking at keeping campers safe, and like I said, we will continue to update our COVID policies and precautions as we get closer to the summer. There's so much that can still change. Obviously, there are new variants. There are things that can be different by the time we get to the summer. So we're not ready to say, line in the sand, this is what it will be. This is what it is as of today. As of right now, we are still planning to keep groups separate at all times, as much as possible. So what that means is there really are low risk versus high risk behaviors, or higher risk behaviors. If we are indoors, masks are going to be on at all times. We'll have social distancing, and groups will be separated at least 6 to 10 feet apart. If we are outside and there are 2 groups on the playground, that is okay. The chances of kids being next to the same child for 15 minutes or more unmasked on a playground is pretty slim. They're usually running around and playing. So at a playground experience, we can have more than one group running around a very large area. When they're swimming, they're constantly moving around. They're in a chlorinated pool. So it's really us looking at what is the type of activity that they're doing and what are the risk management strategies that we're using to keep them safe. And that goes to what Stacey was mentioning about the bus. We are looking at still having masks on buses with airflow moving through the bus, just making sure that we are keeping risk at a minimum as much as we can, and also providing as much contact tracing as we can. So if we were to have a positive case in a group, we don't want that to spread to another group because they spent, an hour together in activity sitting in a circle unmasked. We want to make sure that we have strategies in place to make sure it stays contained to that one group, so we don't have multiple groups that we would need to close. Obviously, in terms of how long you would have to be out of camp if there were a positive case, all of that is constantly changing right now. So I'm not ready to say exactly what that will look like. We will follow what the Baltimore Health Department is likely going to tell us we need to follow. But at this point, it seems to be changing every other day. So we're not setting in stone what exactly that's going to look like. But if you have any questions specifically about what we think it might be, I'm happy to talk offline about that. In terms of inclement weather, we do want to make sure that we want to keep your kids safe in terms of any weather-related things that come through. We are so lucky to have our building. When we do have inclement weather, we are not headed out to a pavilion. We are heading inside, indoors to the air conditioning to continue our programming as best as we possibly can. We do not swim on an inclement weather day. We can't go swimming in our indoor pool. We don't have enough room to swim with all of our young children, but we do pretty much everything else that we possibly can. We have procedures in all of the situations that we may need for severe weather, thunderstorms. We have protocols to go over our walkies to get everyone inside quickly if a thunderstorm is coming through, or in any chance where we know that we need to get kids in safely. And so that's something that's also very special about our campus, is the fact that we can do that. All right, before I keep going, I saw some of the chat stuff going. Allie, is there anything I need to answer before we move on to the next part that's here?
Yeah, so one question we got that came through was regarding our cancellation policy. So Stacy just posted that in the chat, so feel free to read over that. If you had a camper who was exposed to COVID, like Emily said, we just ask that you remain transparent with us. And if you were not able to come with camp, we would work with your family from a financial standpoint to work through your tuition and exactly what that looks like if you had to cancel because you had an exposure. Another question we got was, are you reducing the number of children that are in the pool at the same time? So Emily, if you want to take that.
Sure. So we're not reducing the number of campers that are in the pool at the same time. We never want kids on top of each other in the pool anyway, just in terms of a safety perspective. So we're not looking at changing the number of kids that are in the pool. Will be very similar to the way that we ran it last summer. We will specifically, though, look at how many kids are changing in the changing room at one time. While our pool is vast and has a lot of space, our changing rooms are a little bit smaller. So we've taken precautions to make sure that there's not a lot of groups in there at one time, so that they have their own spaces to change, especially because it is considered an indoor space. So that is one precaution that we definitely take around the pools. Okay. All right. So Allie, take it away.
Yeah, so you can find a ton of information on our website at jcampsbaltimore.org. Everything that we went over tonight is on our website. You'll find programs, times, dates, and rates, our wonderful online brochure. If you wanted to copy down this link, this is a shortcut link that we created for you guys, so feel free to check that out. We post a ton on our social media, so please make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Baltimore JCamps. We have a lot of fun content coming out, and there's going to be more content as we get closer to the summer. And then, like we said, our registration for Early Bird is coming to an end at the end of this month. And this is the time, like I said, where you can save as much money as you possibly can on camp. You'll save $125 per camper if you register for 5 or more weeks, and then $75 per camper if you register for 2 to 4 weeks. So now we are heading into the FAQ part of the night. So if you feel like we answered everything, you're more than welcome to hop off, and then you can also stay on if you want to hear if you have any questions. So the first question is, will this recording be shared with us? Yes, we can send it out to you guys. Can you go through what a typical day schedule is if you did not already? So
yeah,
Emily,
I can take that one.
that?
So it really depends on which program you're picking for your child. I'm happy to have any conversation with anyone offline when you're looking at what the program is. But if you're specifically talking about J-Day, which tends to be the program that a lot of young families or younger kids are in, it is about a 6 activity schedule period. We have 35 to 40-minute periods each day with lunch about in the middle of the day. We start off the day, so children who are riding the bus get off the bus. We have staff that are there waiting to meet them, especially on the first day. We actually have them all wait as they get off the bus and make sure they get to their groups that they're going to and get introduced to their counselor. Once they kind of know where they're going, we walk as a group to where all of our bunks are located, and we let them go to their groups. But we have staff that are there for any stragglers who need a little extra assistance getting to their counselors. Once everyone is there, for the day, we go into our respective units and we have flagpole. So if you've been to camp before, it's a great time where we tell jokes, we sing songs, we do funny and goofy things to get the kids ready and excited for the day. Then we go into our first period activity. It could be a range of different things. If you're looking at J-Day, we have arts and crafts, athletics, nature, science, zip lining, team building, Israeli culture, Israeli dancing. For our older campers, we have archery, adventure course, and we have wonderful field trips each week. So it really depends as your kid goes through their day, through their week, what their day could look like. But each day they do have instructional swim and free swim in J-Day specifically, surrounded by 4 other great activities that'll be keep them on their toes with a variety of different things that they'll get to experience. And really there are different activities that they get to experience in each grade that they come. So if you look on our brochure and kind of click in each unit, you'll see which activities are specific to that grade. And then when you're looking at programs like sports camp or Habima or tennis camp, we're focusing in on that area, surrounded by swim in a lot of ways. They still have the same pace day where they have activity periods, lunch, swim. We do have a morning snack and an afternoon snack time at the beginning or in the kind of mid-morning and afternoon section of the day. Morning snack is provided by the family. Afternoon snack is provided by us. We do a popsicle. The kids need it and love it towards the end of the day. It's a nice cool off towards the before they get on the, it's not right before they get on the bus, but towards that end of the day before they're heading home, which is really nice. And our rainy day schedule it really depends on the rain. Summer can be really finicky and weird. We tend not to have a ton of days where we are stuck inside from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. We really try to get back outside when it's not raining. So if it's a sprinkle, if it's a light rain, if it's not gonna get us crazy wet, we'll stay outside. As long as it's safe to be outside, we will stay out. Otherwise, we'll come in. What we do is we have activities that take place in certain areas. The groups will travel to those areas just like they would if they were traveling to the nature trail to go to nature. And then there are some things that we have to change around a little bit. Zip line, obviously we can't go on the zip line. So we'll do, team building games, and the activity specialists will meet them there. Our counselors are trained in rainy day activities and get to know you games to keep it fun and exciting for them. And if we do run into a summer where it is rain upon rain upon rain, we get the amazing opportunity of being super creative. There was one summer 3 years ago where it rained for an entire week, and we had groups of campers go into the gym, and for an hour and a half we did a lip sync battle. And can I tell you how much those kids got into that lip sync battle? I still have ringing in my ears from the screaming. So there's a lot of fun things we do to keep it interesting on those kind of days.
We got a question asking what is the difference between regular weeks and post-camp weeks. So our regular weeks take place this summer from June 20th to August 12th, and that's when the majority of our camp options are running. We do offer one pre-week camp June 13th, and that's when tennis camp is running. And then our post-week camps are those 2 weeks after August 12th, and that's when we're running those J Camps Plus options as well as tennis camp.
In addition, our buses only run during our main camp 8 weeks. There is no busing during the post-camp or pre-camp week. And then, as Emily had stated, we have the camps at Krieger Schechter. There is no busing to that culinary camp at Krieger Schechter either. We have had Howard County families participate in that before and have figured out like carpool, groups and all of that. But just so you know, it would be a drop-off pickup at those weeks.
And I answered the question about the activity leaders in the chat. They are separate staff that are trained or come with an expertise in that area. All right. Wonderful. Any other questions that you may have for us? Sorry. All right. Well, if you do have any specific questions about your child in particular, or about a specific programmatic element that we didn't talk about today, please feel free to email us. Allie is waiting in the wings for all of your emails, so that way she can register you. So you can feel free to email us at any time. Allie just put that in the chat. So unless you want to hang around for a few moments, we will hopefully see you guys this summer. We do have a camper orientation and parent orientation before camp. where camper orientation will be on site, parent orientation is over Zoom. So we'll go into the nitty-gritty details about the summer before the summer, and we hope to see you guys around. We will be at Palooza this year, so hopefully get to see you in Howard County in March.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. All right, Allie, I think you can stop recording.
Are we